Alright, Jabber's just a quick one here, a phony if you like. Here's the new case. I'm still working on it, but as you may observe, that is the Disting, the Mk4, which has arrived. And one of the things it can do is turn, let me get this straight, turn MIDI into CV, or with a separate algorithm, it'll turn CV into MIDI, either way. But the way you have to do this is generally to buy, and we'll pop the hood up here, hopefully without messing things up too bad. This is under progress, right? This thing. I'm not sure if I can show this effectively. But right there on the Disting board, look on your, if you've got a Disting and you want to try this, look for this little white square there. And the pins next to that are the ones you're looking for. And there's 4 of them. And one pair, the pair closest to the front of the board, to the switches, this face of the board, are the MIDI ins. So you can plug your keyboard into that patch that you're going to make. And here's the little breakout is here. And I've made this thing which will be fit snugly in here once I've whittled the end off with my bastard file. And I'll put some more of these things in here. This is a tip sleeve setup. But you can see to make this, I had to gouge out a vicious hole. So we're literally putting a square peg into a round hole. Now this is kind of a long way to row to do it yourself. And if I hadn't have had something like this in the junk drawer already kind of thing, this is from I think it's from an 8088 computer. You know, when the screen was just green typing, it didn't even have pictures on it. Anyway, this was in the junk drawer. And if it wasn't, and you had to send away for these little dealies here, see, there's one on it right now. And that's a tip ring sleeve. And I'm only using 2 connectors. And there's a thing at the Disting site that shows you kind of sort of how to do this. Now, oddly enough, I thought, now this is a type A connector. So, which is kind of more standard than the type B, if there is such a thing as a standard. And so I thought that if I just flipped that around, you know, misdirected the pins, if you like, that it would become a type B, which is right here. But that's not the case. You get no output or input if you reverse the pins. So, at least at my house, I don't know, I could easily have done something wrong. But so, anyway, let me think about this. I've got the inputs on type B, and I've made 2 of these. So the inputs are on type B, and the output is on type A, and it breaks out to a MIDI 5-pin. The advantage is I didn't have to put in another strip here, another HP. But there it is. That's the way, and I can demonstrate that this works, and I will do so in a moment. Back here, I've got the Disting fired up and temporarily kind of wired up here. I don't want this to touch the metal, I don't think. Anyway, it's algorithm G8. The 3 T's, tap, tap, turn to select the algorithm that you're looking for. And we see here that the CV to MIDI, which is what we wanted to do. Off camera, I've got the Moog Voyager, which is only accepts MIDI. And I've got one other, I've got this, which has MIDI out. And so I can drive it with that, but I thought it would be cool to drive it with other things. So I've got this. And we can try it with this, and how the way this works, or at least I can tell, is that if we take the X, and that's our CV, our pitch CV, the notes, and our Y, I'm going to use a black cable for that, which will be our gate out on the 182. And now, what would happen if I press this? Oh, that's a happy sound, a merry melody. So it is working, and off camera, I wish I could show you this, but I'm not that well organized. Take my word for it. The MIDI indicator, incoming MIDI light, is blinking in time in concert with this dun 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 dun. So we know it's working, and we can hear it's working. Splendid. So far, so good. And now, in the meantime, we can see that this actually does what it's designed to do. And there's this other thing. If we turn this, which is the Z knob, that turns up our velocity, and I'm not clear if it's turning. Not really clear that that's making it louder or if it's introducing random velocity per note. The signal on the computer all looks the same, really. So here's kind of a cool thing. If we take this 140 has an LFO section, which has proved quite interesting. So if we take this out, we're departing now from the discussion about the disting. It's working in that capacity. So I've got that going, which is kind of why I got it, or one of the reasons that convinced me this would be cool to have in a rack. So if we put this, which is coming from the LFO negative out, this has two opposite waveforms. So if we put this into the CV, whoops, that's the CV out. Sorry, my bad. Okay, into the tempo CV in. Let me unplug this. Now watch what happens when the light comes on. When the light comes on, the tempo speeds up. Now if we turn this to this, that's because it's on an up ramp. If I turn it, when the light comes on, it slows it down. It's the opposite effect. And this is on the divide by 10 scale here. I'm not even sure what that is. Output level. So now each one of these things does something different. So it's depending on the frequency here. You can kind of stop it on any stage if you fuss with it enough. That's on the square wave. It just kind of turns it off and off. So you can pause this and make it continue in its loop, its cycle. Pretty weird. Okay, that's one's not so great. So that's the sine wave there, and you can see it just kind of slows down and speeds up. You can't do this with the Korg SQ1. I guess you could kind of sit there and turn the knob, you know, but So if we take this, because we're a divide by 10 here, it won't pause. We're on the square wave. Just stopping on a different thing because this is and if it's divide by 10 in the output level, then it just slows it down, doesn't stop it. I don't know what this does. Doesn't seem to do anything. And anyway, this positive going signal is jazzing the velocity thing. It's hard to hear, and maybe I don't have it turned right. Do you know it turns kind of blue when it's off? This delay, which is kind of like a glide function most of the time when the disting isn't involved, is a little different on here. I'm not sure what that is. The gate time is, this device seems to take notice of it. And of course you can fool with your, whatever your oscillator device is. It doesn't have to be a mode, could be anything that makes noise. Anyway, there it is, the 50-cent tour of the disting functioning as a algorithm G8, the CV to MIDI, and now I can, it's pretty cool. I'm pretty pleased with this so far. Now, this Behringer 182 produces a correct amount of gate to drive this unit here. However, the 960, which is kind of famous for needing something else, I put it into one of these envelope generators here and just borrowed this unit to run the gate off the 960, and it worked amazingly. This CV to MIDI thing is really worth looking at. It's been fun so far. Okay, well that's about it for right now. I just wanted to point out that you can do your own, a monkey could do this. It's and it's worth the effort. So, all right, carry on as you were.